Good evening, Beacon Nation. First things first, everyone, welcome back to Beaconville. Welcome to the 2025 UMass Boston Athletics Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Long time coming, no further ado, let's get into it. My name's Chris Del Sordo. I'm one of the voices you might hear on the Beacon Broadcasting Network, and I'd like to think a voice of the campus here at UMass Boston. It is my absolute honor, privilege, to serve as your MC tonight as we celebrate not only the legacy, but the passion and the excellence that defines UMass Boston athletics and Boston State College athletics. It's all welcome tonight. Tonight we gather to not only recognize athletic achievement, but to honor the spirit, the commitment, and the unforgettable moments that our inductees have gifted this university, this community, and each one of us who have cheered from the stands, or have coached from the sidelines, or have laced them up for the Beacons. Before we begin, let's give a round of applause to the incredible team behind tonight's event, our UMass Boston Athletics Department, university leadership, and the alumni team. Give yourselves a round of applause. To officially open tonight's ceremony, it's my pleasure to introduce someone whose leadership and dedication to the university and our athletics program continues to inspire excellence every day. Please join me in welcoming the heart and engine behind UMass Boston Athletics, our very own Vice Chancellor and Director of Athletics, Dr. Jacqueline Schumann.
Welcome, Warriors and Beacons, to the 2025 Hall of Fame ceremony. I am both humbled and honored to serve as the leader of this department, and I am so proud to be here to kick off today's celebration with all of you. UMass Boston is a special place with meaning to so many people, as was and is Boston State College. We hold a unique place in higher education in Boston as the only four-year public research institution in the city, provide an affordable education to people of all backgrounds, and serve a community where the majority of our students are first-generation college students. In my 5th year here, I both know of the importance of this institution to our students, alumni, their families and friends, and this community, and I've experienced firsthand our important impact. A great part of that importance is the place of sports as a critical part of this higher education experience. We are fortunate to be in a city where sports matters. At a time when our world continues to face global threats, troubling feats, and division, I'm reminded every single day that we get to work in this city as educators through sports. Sports, on the contrary to many of the current troubles we face in our society, builds unity, character, resilience, and community. We compete in a way that brings out the best in our students and helps them solve problems and overcome when faced with setbacks. My hope every single day is that we are building better citizens who can take what they've learned through their important education in sports and bring it into the world to be a part of what makes it a better place. I'm grateful that we at UMass Boston get to do this important work of supporting our student athletes in such a unique and powerful environment. I'm proud to be able to share all that we have accomplished in the past year on a day that we honor so many of you for the legacy that you have left through your accomplishments. There are so many accolades that I can talk about, but really we're here to honor all of you, our Hall of Fame inductees, and so I will highlight several of those accolades that stand out over the past year. In the 2024-25 school year, 16 of our 19 teams advanced to compete in conference tournament or playoff competition. We had 3 teams compete in conference championships and 2 LEC conference team champions, softball, who then went on to compete in the NCAA regionals, and women's tennis, who won their third consecutive conference championship. We had 9 LEC individual women's track champions and a 2-time national champion in track, Ariana Garceau, who is also now the Division III national record holder in the 100-meter hurdles. Who is turning red right now. Sorry, I should have warned you. Finally, we had 3 coaches or coaching staffs of the year: Malcolm Neville for women's tennis, Amy Zombeck and her coaching team for women's soccer, and Jake Beverland and his coaching team for men's soccer. Last year, we officially added our 20th NCAA-sponsored sport and continued a path to increase participation opportunities for women with the addition of field hockey, who will have their first official playing season in fall of 2026. History was also made with women's lacrosse competing in their first LEC season in the spring of 2025. It was truly a year of incredible athletic achievement and success, as we also earned our best finish in the Little East Conference Commissioner's Cup in over 5 years. This past year, we also launched new programming and program models. Our community engagement program served our greater Boston community with an estimation of over 2,100 hours of service, and our inclusive excellence program continued to show the importance of belongingness to our institution and how we utilize our place in Boston to better engage our community through sports. We also launched a holistic performance program integrating mental health providers, nutrition, sports medicine, strength and conditioning, and starting to use data analytics and performance coaching in a support model to better serve our student athletes' performance and wellness needs. And our success last year wasn't just limited to athletic achievements and programming. Our Beacons truly embodied what it means to be student athletes. We recorded the highest cumulative department GPA in over 10 years with an outstanding 3.3 GPA. That's a true testament to our student athletes' dedication, discipline, and commitment to excellence in all areas of their lives. Our student athletes also take on important leadership opportunities, and one really significant highlight is we currently have the NCAA Student Athlete Advisory Committee rep, Luana Batista Soares, from the women's lacrosse team, who is serving at the national level at our conference, SAC, giving us a voice on the NCAA committee and serving on the NCAA Division III Management Council, the highest level committee in NCAA governance. I think we should give a round of applause for that. I just would like to do that. So what that means is when NCAA legislation is proposed and goes through, the NCAA Student Athlete Advisory Committee has the ability to vote, and she sits on that governance structure, and she's a part of that vote and sitting there as a part of that council. So pretty impactful. So many people have come back to this campus for this event, for some of the other events that we've had over this week, including yesterday's ribbon cutting with the newly renovated Clark Athletic Center. Facilities has been a really important part of how we continue to enhance the university. What was a big pile of dirt a few years ago is now what's kind of like a garden, a forest, all kinds of greenery in the middle of our campus. And we now have 4 new locker rooms in our athletic space, a new study space, some new lounge areas for our athletes. We have coaches' offices, for the first time, individual coaches' offices for every single one of our head coaches, which is significant because it helps us to continue to build out the best student-athlete experience in giving them one-on-one time with their coaches and their teams. We also broke ground this summer on our new softball facility, which is slated to open in the spring of 2026. And that facility will include a turf field, a grandstand, a new scoreboard, and will make our facility one of the best softball facilities in all of Division III softball. I encourage all of you, if you have a chance at some point or you're on campus at another point, to please come by, see us in Clark. We're happy to take you on a tour. There's so much to see on campus. There's so much to see in our facilities. And then when the softball field comes on board in the spring, it will also significantly change the landscape of our campus, as there's greenery that will surround that at a significant entry point to our campus. I've taken time to let you know where we stand as a department because all that you have done in your time as student athletes here has built the legacy that we now stand on, and we are thankful to have you with us tonight. We thank all of you for your contributions to athletics at Boston State College and UMass Boston, and we can't wait to honor you tonight. Before I pass the program back over to our MC, who will introduce our honorees and share more about the important legacy you have left here, I'd like to recognize a few important groups. First, we have many of our current Hall of Fame inductees and members here tonight. If you have previously been inducted into a Hall of Fame, would you please stand to be recognized? I'd like to recognize our Hall of Fame selection committee members, many of which are here tonight, including head coach Natalia Ardegna, and Eileen Fenton, and two members that were not able to be here tonight, Jake Beverlin and Jim Collins. Eileen and Natalia, thank you for being here. We'd like to thank our Boston State College and UMass Boston alumni in attendance tonight. I'd also like to thank our newly created Vice Chancellor for Athletics and Recreation, me, Council, a newly created group to help me strategize about how we better fundraise and garner financial and alumni support for our student athletes, teams, and priorities. Some of those members are in attendance tonight, including Daniel Watson, Hall of Famer who just stood up, Kristen Bowes, and Grace Fisher. Please stand to be recognized. And those who were unable to attend are Mike Beatrice and Dan Bandar. Speaking of fundraising, I think there's a little plug I should enter, which is there is a QR code at the center of your table. We always welcome your contributions, and if at any point you'd like to give, please know that you have the opportunity to do with just the click of a button. Thank you so much for your support. I'd also like to recognize our current head coaches in the audience who are the backbone of our student athletes' success. Head coaches, please stand to be recognized. And then finally, I'd like to recognize our entire athletics and recreation staff for all you do to keep our student athletes healthy, educated, and able to reach their fullest potential. Will you all please stand to be recognized as well? Some of them look mad at me. All right. I hope you all enjoy a great evening. And without further ado, here is the time to come and honor you. So Chris, please come back to the stage. Thank you.
The UMass Boston Athletics Hall of Fame celebrates the very best of Beacon pride. From record-breaking athletes to transformative coaches and trailblazing contributors, tonight's honorees have each left an indelible mark on the history of our athletic program. Now, we would like to start by honoring two of our already current Hall of Fame members who, because they can't have enough good things, were just inducted into the Little East Conference Hall of Fame this past June. Our first LEC Hall of Fame honoree is Shannon Thompson from the class of 2013. Shannon is one of the most decorated volleyball players in the history of the Little East Conference and obviously UMass Boston, and it's not close. Get ready for some of these accolades. A four-time LEC regular season and tournament champion, 4 for 4. LEC Rookie of the Year, four-time first-team All-LEC. The first player in league history to be named LEC Offensive Player of the Year and LEC Championship Tournament Most Outstanding Player 3 times. We're not done. Thompson was the program's first ever American Volleyball Coaches Association All-American recipient, earning honorable mention as a freshman in 2009. First team All-American as a sophomore in 2010, and third team in 2011. Shannon was a key player on that incredible Beacons team that for her 4 years enjoyed an 80% winning percentage with a combined record of 108 wins across from 27 losses. During Shannon's career, she included a record of 26-2 in every LEC regular season game, and even better, a perfect 8-0 mark in LEC tournament matches. They can't take that from you if you don't lose a game in the playoffs. In addition, the Beacons reached the regional final for 3 straight seasons from 2010 to 2012. They captured the program's first ever NCAA regional in 2010, and they got another one in 2012. Now, off the hardwood, Thompson earned her bachelor's degree in exercise science and health from UMass Boston in 2013, and then her MBA in 2017. She was inducted into the UMB and Boston State College Hall of Fame in 2022. Thompson currently is the head coach of the Seton Hall women's volleyball team, and she's unable to join us this evening because they're playing the University of Maryland at 7 o'clock tonight. So I understand a little bit busy, but last weekend, our Vice Chancellor and Director of Athletics, Dr. Jackie Schumann, had the opportunity to honor Shannon during her visit to Boston for Seton Hall's matchup at Harvard. So even though she's not here tonight, let's let it be known she can hear this from wherever she is coaching this game tonight. Guys, put your hands together. A big round of applause for Shannon Thompson and her incredible accomplishments during her time at UMass Boston. Okay, and now for someone who is in the building, already a Hall of Fame member, but let's celebrate their induction into the Little East Conference Hall of Fame. Our next Little East Conference Hall of Famer is Ryan Walsh, class of 2011. Walsh is among the most decorated baseball players in the history of the LEC and UMass Boston. Now, he was instrumental in the program's success in the early 2010s, and that success would then transform the Beacons into one of the premier programs in the nation. Walsh was a 3-time first-team All-LEC selection at second base. He was named the 2011 LEC Player of the Year after hitting, I think I'm reading this right, 455, 69 hits, 14 doubles, 12 homers, 51 RBIs, 42 runs scored, and 20 stolen bases. That's a 5-tool player if we're keeping track. His 2011 batting average, home run total, and slugging percentage of .806, which is ridiculous, remain program records to this day. His list of accolades, though, extend well beyond the LEC honors. Walsh earned All-American honors from the American Baseball Coaches Association and then separately from D3Baseball.com following both his junior and his senior year. He was first-team All-American from both organizations in 2011, and he garnered third-team All-American votes in 2010. Additionally, he was named an All-Region player by the ABCA 3 separate times and was named the 2011 ECAC New England Regional Player of the Year. That 2010 season saw the Beacons reach unprecedented heights. They posted a 32-17 record, and they won their first ever LEC tournament championship, allowing them to qualify for the Division III Baseball National Championship Tournament for the first time in program history. After going 4-0 in the tournament, the Beacons swept their way through the New England Regional to advance all the way to the D3 College World Series. Walsh earned his bachelor's degree in criminal justice from UMB in 2012. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame here at UMass Boston and Boston State College in 2022. And now, please join me in celebrating and honoring Ryan for his outstanding achievements and success. Ladies and gentlemen, the newest member of the LEC Hall of Fame, Ryan Walsh.
How are we doing tonight? I would just like to thank the LEC for inducting me into the Hall of Fame. It's a great honor. I'd like to thank UMass Boston for also having me tonight. This place is unbelievable. I haven't been back here in a while, so I was a little lost coming here. I'd I'd like to thank my teammates, my coaches. I'd like to thank Coach Egerbrodt in particularly because I wasn't the easiest guy to coach, and I appreciate he stuck with me, pushed me through, and I appreciate that, Coach. I'd also like to thank my mom. Yeah, she's in here tonight. I honestly wouldn't be here tonight if it wasn't for her. I was at home. I wasn't going to go to college. She woke me up and said, we're going down to UMass Boston to meet the coach. So I came down. She sat in the campus center for 5 hours while I went to class. So I made sure I went to every single class. So thank you, Mom, and thank you, everybody else. Have a good night. Thank you.
It is now our privilege to recognize and celebrate the newest inductees into the UMass Boston and Boston State College Hall of Fame. Our first inductee is 1974 graduate Bob Hall. As a senior at Boston State College, Hall captured the National Wheelchair Mile title, which was held at Washington State College in Cheney, Washington. He not only won that race by 8 seconds, but he also beat the previous record by 7. Hall's remarkable achievement came under the guidance of legendary Boston State track and field coach Billy Squires. In 1975, Bob made history as the first officially recognized wheelchair athlete to complete the Boston Marathon, to complete the Boston Marathon, finishing in an astonishing 2 hours and 58 minutes. A breakthrough that paved the way for the formal wheelchair divisions worldwide. Just 2 years later, he shattered his own Boston Marathon course record with a time of 2 hours, 40 minutes, and 10 seconds, setting a new world record in the process. Beyond his competitive success, Hall transformed the sport itself by founding Hall's Wheels in 1978, where he designed lightweight, custom racing wheelchairs. Those were innovations that revolutionized wheelchair racing in its entirety. In August 2025, Falmouth Road Race Incorporated, in celebration of 50 years of wheelchair racing in Falmouth, announced the Bob Hall Legacy Award. This annual award will be given to an athlete who submits a request for assistance with adaptive equipment to either begin in sports or to continue competing in sports. Hall was also honored as the Grand Marshal for the 2025 Boston Marathon, celebrating the 50th anniversary of his pioneering race, and received the Rick and Dick Hoyt Award from the Boston Athletic Association for demonstrating extraordinary courage and inclusion. Before we hand it over to Bob, please join me in welcoming Billy Squires, Jr., son of the world-renowned track and field coach Bill Squires from his days at Boston State, who will say a few words about Bob on his father's behalf. Billy.
Thank you. I'm not a public speaker, but I'll do my best. My father, Boston State College, 50 years ago, they had a gymnasium with a basketball court. They had no formal track. They went over to BCBU to train. So Bob approached my dad in '74, and my father was, as Bob would say, he was sitting back in his coach's chair and put his arms behind his head, and he said, "What do you want to do? You want to break a wheelchair record?" And at the time, it was like an 8-minute record, and Bob got determined, and after 6 months of training, got it down to 6:51. He won this national championship, and then it went from there to the marathon. So Bob can correct me if I'm wrong, but then 9 months later, Bob was training with kids at Boston State College, and my father just used workouts and techniques, hills and fartlek and simulators, and he just took it from his athletes that he was training to Bob. And at the time, my dad was working with this newly formed club, the Greater Boston Track Club, that had Bill Rogers, and there was, 3 or 4 Boston Marathon winners back in the day. So then he just would adapt things for Bob, and Bob just took off with it. And so they approached the BAA in '75 to have it a wheelchair division. And so with, back and forth, it came about. It happened. And Bob was with the masses of like 2,500 people back then. It wasn't as big as now. And with his wheelchair, an Everson Jennings wheelchair you'd see in a hospital, weighed 47 pounds. He took that to 26 miles and finished, like Chris said, in 2 hours and 58 minutes. So it was just like, you can't fathom. You know what I mean? You came here today, you travel 10 or 15 miles. You'll do that going back, and that's, 30 miles. Bob did 26 back then. And back then, Bob would train on the roads in Belmont and around, and it was an oddity to see somebody in a wheelchair training. But where Bob would train different loops that he would do, and nobody had like GPS in their watch and how far I'm going. But he would, people would watch him in neighborhoods, and they would begin to see him more and more, and it's like, wow, what is this guy doing? And then Bob went away. This is a story he shared with me just recently. He went away for a couple months, and he went back to the same route, and people started like giving him, like clapping for him, admiring him, because it was so unique. So he took his wins at Boston. He went to New York, and they denied him, and then he filed suit, and it still got denied, but eventually wheelchair marathoning caught on worldwide. And so it's this humble Bob here that went to Boston State College, and he just took off. I got to say just one more minute here. A teammate was going to give the talk, but then he passed it off to me. So together they developed unique wheelchair training and racing strategies, my dad and him. And he was national champion record holder for the mile that predated NCAA wheelchair recognition. Bobby and Coach Squires lobbied for the first wheelchair marathon category in the marathon. He won the first Boston Marathon. He won it like 2:58, then he did like a 2:40 2 years later. And he was just a pioneer. Then he decided to develop a business, Hall's Wheels, where he made wheelchairs for Paralympic athletes. And he did that for 20 years, and that was hard work for him, but he enjoyed the camaraderie and encouraging people. And so he's a legend to para-athletes and a mentor to young para-athletics. And it all began at Boston State with a determination to compete and succeed. So here's Bobby. I'm going to shed some tears.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. I think I'm the oldest guy in the room today. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bob.
Your dad is so special to me. He not only trained me, educated me, but as a mentor, it gave me a lot of spirit. He did a lot of encouragement from day one. Wheelchair sports began all around the country in little havens like Toledo, Medford, Mass, but they weren't officially recognized except in my community. And I went to some of these, as they called, games. I didn't do necessarily that well. I loved it, even in defeat. So when I came finally back to college in my senior year, I told Coach Squires, I wanted to break the 8-minute mile. And as Bill said, typical of Bill Squires, the coach, put his hands above his head, leaned back to such a degree I thought he was going to fall out of his chair. You want to do what? I want to break the 8-minute mile. He said, do you know what that is? How long that is? That's 2 quarters back to back to back. That's 4 quarters under 2 minutes. And I said, I know. Will you coach me? You know, this again is at Boston State. At this moment in time, Greater Boston was just a little significant of the future. And writes down whatever in terms of training progress, gives me the sheet of paper, and he says, come see me in 6 months. I go, 6 months? In my head, I was thinking, I thought a coach is supposed to talk to their athletes 2 weeks, maybe a month. 6 months. I felt, does he really want to coach me? What is really in store? But I did what he asked, and actually more. And I was fortunate in my training to recognize that I was really potentially able to do a 2-mile race, a 1-mile race around the track. So we just happened to meet in the Boston State College aisle. And he was in front of me, and I caught up to him, and I said, Coach, I'm ready. And he looked to his right and gave me a hug. Says, I'm ready for Spokane. And he said, you know, Bob, as he's hugging me, I sent 2 guys to the Nationals. The third's coming back a champion. And you know what? I did. And that was a phenomenal moment to see before and see after the fruits of the coach and the athlete, what could possibly happen if given the right opportunity. The same happened with the marathon. After this race, the mile race that I had won, I got invited to Europe for the National Wheelchair Championships. I sat next to somebody who was running the Toledo Wheelchair Games, and he said to me, hey, you did really well in Spokane. These other guys, they want another shot at you. We're going to have a marathon opening up the games. And I shook my head and said, what? You know how long that is? You know, of course, being from Boston, I knew what that meant. So I went back to Coach Squires and I told him, I need to do this marathon in Toledo next year. Can you help? Can you train me? He goes, a marathon? You know how long that is? That's 1 mile times 26. So I had told the guy on the plane ride to England, okay, I'll do your marathon. I did. And the woman was like, hey, there's somebody here who's going to do a marathon under 3 miles, under 3 hours, 3 hours. I go, no, really? I wonder who that is. And the room never talked about it, but I did break 3 hours. I did it in 2:54 and 5 seconds. These guys were going to come do Boston, and I said to myself, I had to be there. I couldn't just win a marathon and not participate in another one if others were going to show up. Well, in the end, they didn't. Shame on them. I ran the race alone. I did what I did under 3 hours, and Will Cloney, at that time the race director, gave me a certificate of accomplishment that I've cherished forever for those 50 years on my wall, and then end of this year, where I was shown to be what I have over 50 years in terms of an influencer and much more than that. I give it to the BAA Hall of Fame certificate. So I'm deeply, deeply thankful for UMass Boston State College for giving me these opportunities that have changed my life daily forever to who I am today. Appreciate being here so much. It means so much more than anybody can really realize. I appreciate it. But in doing all of this, I couldn't be correct in acknowledging Jeff Grossman, who was my boss from the town of Belmont, who we had on a bet that if I do the Boston Marathon, finish the Boston Marathon, he would give me a wheelchair. And that he did out of the blue, that I got the wheelchair, hop in a wheelchair, but that's all we could get at that time. I had prior to the race, which endeared me dearly, and I was fortunate because of Jeff's help. If you would stand, Jeff, to help me on my journey has continued. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Bob. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I mean, come on, one more time, everybody. Let's put it together for Mr. Bob Hall. All right, let's stick in the world of racing. Speed demons, if you will. Our next inductee is one of the most dominant sprinters in UMass Boston history, building a career defined by speed, consistency, and championship performances. Hillary McGuffey, class of 2016, was a 9-time NCAA All-American across the 200 and 400-meter races, cementing her place among the most decorated track athletes in Beacon's history. In 2016, McGuffey made history by winning the national championships in the 400 meters, both indoors and outdoors. Not the same thing. Not easy to do. Got them both. Cementing her status as the fastest Division III 400-meter runner in the country. At the time, she ranked second all-time in the NCAA Division III history in the 400-meter race. McGuffey was also a dominant force at the regional level, capturing multiple New England Division III titles, including 2 each in the 100 meters and the 200 meters, and earning 3 ECAC Division III crowns at the 200-meter mark. Let's hear it for the newest induction of the UMass Boston Hall of Fame, class of 2016, Hillary McGuffey.
Hi, thank you everyone. It's honestly such an honor to even be here right now or even be recognized into the Hall of Fame, so thank you so much and I appreciate it, and I'm truly humble and grateful. It feels amazing to be back at UMass Boston. Everything looks different, everything has changed. Seeing how great the athletic department is doing and thriving, from the track team, Coach Ozzie and all the girls, setting new records. It's so cool to see, like, even being back here almost 10 years. Honestly, the little girl that grew up in Lynn, Mass would be so proud of myself right now. And honestly, being a first-generation college student, my mom immigrating here from Haiti, like, it feels just honored. And I would be knowing that her courage and her sacrifices and her wanting her family and her children to be here for a better future made it possible for me to be here today. Being here tonight reminds me of how far we can go and when someone believes in us and we believe in ourselves. So thank you, everyone who had supported me throughout this journey and my past, from my family to my present, from Coach Walker, being Coach Hamza at the time, all my teammates, and my amazing fiance, and to my son, Carter. I hope that when you look at your mom, you can see that it took a lot of hard work to get here, but thank you all for supporting me. It's an honor to be here and to accomplish this. I appreciate it.
Our next inductee will bring us back to the volleyball court to honor one of the most decorated student athletes in program and Little East Conference history, Elizabeth Glavin. Glavin redefined, before I get into this, Elizabeth, help me out here. I think you get to be the official line on this. Is it pronounced libero or libero? That's what I say. Perfect. Awesome. Glavin redefined the libero position during her 4-year career at UMass Boston. The only player in conference history to be named 4-time first-team all-conference selection and Defensive Player of the Year. Glavin earned 3 American Volleyball Coaches Association All-America honors, becoming the first libero in program history to be named an All-American. Glavin is the only player in program history to surpass the 2,000 dig mark for her career and currently holds every single dig record at UMass Boston. So, hey, that's a player not afraid to dive on the hardwood and lay it all on the line for the Beaks. Please welcome the newest member of the UMass Boston Hall of Fame, Elizabeth Glavin. People still argue about it online, so I figured I'd go straight to the source.
That's how I say it. Cheers. Awesome. Sorry, getting ready. Awesome. Well, thank you to the committee and everybody for choosing me to be honored in this way. UMass Boston is such a special place, and any chance that I get to come back to Boston, come back to this school, I feel super, super lucky. Congrats to all the other honorees. It's exciting to be here and with all of you. And it's funny to look back at my time at UMass Boston because it almost never was. For those of you that know me, I'm a homebody. I love being home. I love being back in Minnesota where I grew up. And when I had to make the decision nearly 12 years ago about where I wanted to go to college, it was 2 options, either the University of Minnesota, which was home, 15 minutes from where I grew up with everybody I knew everywhere I was going, and UMass Boston, where I didn't know anybody. I'd be moving across the country, but I had the opportunity to play volleyball. Ultimately, with a little bit of pushing from my parents, I decided to come to UMass, and looking back, I couldn't have made a better decision. When I first came here, I spent a lot of the first month of August crying, begging my parents to come home. My coaches even asked my teammates to hang out with me so I wouldn't want to quit. But eventually, things started to get better. Volleyball was going well. I earned a starting spot. I made friends. School started, and that first year, we ended up making it to the Elite 8, which was a great experience, losing to the eventual national champion. And things started to get better and fall into place. After that, everything started to fall into place. I started to find my second home out here in Boston. And even though the 4 years were up and down, I wouldn't change a thing. The first semester taught me a lot, really forced me to grow up, figure things out. And I think every year that I was at UMass, I learned a lot and became the person that I was supposed to be. And if I hadn't chosen to come out here for school, I wouldn't be where I am today. So a few thank yous. First of all, to my parents for kicking me out and saying, get to Boston, we know you need it. My mom, thank you for being here. Thank you for being my first and favorite coach. I'm so excited that I get to coach with you now. I really wish my dad was able to see me get this award today, although I know deep down he probably thought I would end up here one day, so grateful for that. My coaches, Terry and Mike, thanks for giving me a safe place to talk, vent, and really pushing me to become the leader, the athlete I thought I could be when I first came on campus. Dave Wahlberg for being such a supporting role, being a place to vent, cry, and honestly being a great boss when I was working at UMass. To the rest of the support staff, trainers, other coaches, my teammates, thank you so much for creating so many memories with me. Half the reason it was fun was because of all the people I got to do it with. UMass Boston has changed me in so many places. Coming to Boston has really changed the trajectory of my life. If I wouldn't have come here, I wouldn't have met my husband, Greg. I wouldn't have the career I have. Coming here really changed everything in my life for the best. And so for that, I am super, super grateful. Thank you again for selecting me for this award. Cheers.
She's not alone. I, too, have cried in the office with Dave Wahlberg after difficult nights here at UMass Boston. So nice to know that there's that support system extended to everybody here at Beaconville. All right. We now move to the ice as we honor our final two inductees this evening. From his first game as a Beacon to his lasting impact as a leader on and off the ice, Colin Larkin has truly earned his place in this UMass Boston Hall of Fame. Colin is widely considered the greatest forward in UMass Boston hockey history. In 2018, he was awarded the prestigious Sid Watson Award as the NCAA Division III National Player of the Year, becoming the only player in program history to receive that honor. Often compared to the Hobie Baker Award at the Division I level, the Watson Award is essentially regarded as the Heisman Trophy of Division III hockey. Larkin's list of accolades is unmatched, but we'll sprinkle in a couple of them here for you. He was a two-time NCAA All-American in 2017 and 2018, a two-time NEHC Player of the Year, the 2018 New England Hockey Writers Player of the Year, and the 2018 USCHO.com Player of the Year. He also earned the Joseph Concannon Award as the top American-born Division III player in New England. Over his career, Colin appeared in 111 games, recording 64 goals, 84 assists for a total of 148 points. You're asking, is that good in 111 games? No, it's phenomenal. It's unmatchable. As a sophomore, he helped lead the 2015-2016 Beacons to their first ever NCAA Division III Frozen Four appearance, scoring the overtime game winner in the NEHC Championship against Babson. I could continue with this, but I'm going to give the mic to the man himself. Let's hear it for the newest inductee to the UMass Boston and Boston State Hall of Fame, Colin Larkin.
Shoot, here we go. Well, thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. I should bring you to my day job, pumping me up in front of my coworkers and leaders there. But no, I just appreciate this honor, and I'd first like to thank the University Athletic Department, UMass Boston hockey team staff, and the Hockey Alumni Association for the nomination and induction into the UMass Boston Athletics Hall of Fame. This is a tremendous honor that I'm very proud of. I'd like to thank my parents, Kevin and Denise, my wife Andrea, for coming out here today. Appreciate you guys making the trip to celebrate, the induction of myself and the 2016 team today. Mom, Dad, I appreciate your support through all aspects of life. You worked hard to provide me with opportunities like coming to school here, which led to lifelong friendships and some of the best times in my life. Mom, I also appreciate that you didn't come to school here and watch me go to class for 5 hours, because that really didn't happen. Thank you to the UMass Boston staff that was here while I was here. Student athletes, we really did have all the tools to be successful and develop because of contributions from Ed and his team. I'm not standing up here today if it's not for all of my teammates throughout my 4 years here. I was very fortunate to be on 4 very good teams here with great players up and down each roster. It's real easy to produce and have the accolades when you have guys like Bishop and Lemire and Chukrin passing to you, or Albie hunting down the puck for you on the forecheck because you're just kind of lazy. My roommates, Brett, Josh, Axel, what a run we had. We managed to not get evicted. Even after Colucci made us have way too many pen parties in the first month. But living and hanging out with you guys was really the best, even you, Javi. But I appreciate you guys and the friendship we have maintained to this day. You know, the most fun year and the best team I've ever been a part of started 10 years ago this fall, the 2015-2016 Beacons hockey team. You know, that entire school year was so incredible. The whole team bonded together so quick, and that bond and belief we built as a team carried us all the way to the Frozen Four. The enthusiasm that year was special, whether it was the mini-game Mondays or captain's practices or the road trips or the team parties. The whole team was just fired up to be together. We believed in one another. We stuck together to overcome all of our challenges that we faced that year. You know, when I look back on that season, everyone had a moment. You know, there was big goals that came from the defensemen like Craw, I got to say that, and Bono. Insane highlight reel goals from Lemire, Lindsay, Demchuk, big hits from Gary and Mason, big saves from Billy and Zach, and probably way too many contributions from the whole team at the bars. But those moments are what made the season all so special. We just took it week by week and had the most fun you could have in between. You know, flipping gears to the coaching staff, it's good seeing Murph and Walshy here. And Walshy, thank you for recruiting me to come here. It was the best decision I ever made. I appreciate your hustle and drive to get, you know, such talented players here that are all sitting in this room. I almost didn't come to UMass Boston after you stuck me with Bish on my recruiting trip, but I appreciated your persistence. It's no surprise that you've been doing great running your own program at SNU for all these years. Lastly, and definitely the biggest, most important thank you of them all goes to Pete Belisle. Coach, from the moment I got on campus, you always believed in me, and that never changed. I appreciated your attitude and leadership the most. You expect your players to be ready to play hard, you know, be the best academically, but you also understand what the college experience means and allowed every player to enjoy their time here at the school. You know, the time spent in college, being a part of your program, taught us values and work ethic that prepared us to have success in each of our next careers. Coach, on behalf of myself and all of my teammates, thank you for dedicating your career to this program. What you have built here is a massive network of UMass Boston hockey alumni who are all proud to always be a part of the Beacons hockey community, and we are forever grateful for all that you have given to every player in your program. So, yeah. See, I mean, that's all I had written down, but this is going pretty well, so no, I'm just kidding. Thank you. Let's have a great night. I'm very fired up to have my teammates here and celebrate and be back in this great city. Thanks.
Yeah, I think we need everybody in that picture. All right, I know he can't go far, but Colin, don't go too far, because our next inductee into the UMass Boston Hall of Fame is not one recipient. No, it's the whole team. The 2015-2016 men's ice hockey team. The 15-16 UMass Boston men's ice hockey team captured both the NEHC regular season championship, going 14-2-2. Then they won the NEHC tournament by beating Southern Maine 4-1. UNE 6-3, and then, you heard it, that 3-2 win against Babson, with Mr. Larkin scoring that goal in overtime. Their postseason, that was That's a moment. We can clap for that, but let's continue. Their postseason surge culminated in the first ever appearance in the NCAA Division III Frozen Four. They finished the season ranked number 3 nationally with a 790 win percentage. Guided by head coach Peter Belisle, who earned the Division III National Coach of the Year honors from the AHCA, the NEHWA, and the NEHC. So it was unanimous, right? The Beacons played with an up-tempo, creative style built on speed, skill, and discipline. And I think if you ask any hockey player, those are the 3 things that they would like to play in a system under. With assistant coaches Sean Walsh and Tom Murphy and the leadership of Captain Alton Daly and assistant captain Derek Colucci, the Beacons delivered a season defined by resilience, chemistry, and as you can see, they still have it today, camaraderie. In the NCAA tournament, the Beacons defeated defending national champion Trinity College by a score of 4-0, and familiar foe Hobart College 2-0. Before, and I hate to have to bring this up, but before falling to the powerhouse St. Norbert 8-7 in double overtime. They don't make hockey games like that. In a Frozen Four semifinal that has been hailed as one of the greatest NCAA D3 hockey games ever played. Other notable achievements by the team include, as we mentioned, the first Frozen Four appearance in program history. They finished the season ranked number 3 in the nation. The senior class graduated with a program best combined record of 81, 20, and 10. And goaltenders Billy Faust and Zach Andrews combined for 5 shutouts and a 2.16 goals allowed average, and that's the best for a 2-goalie tandem ever in UMass Boston school history. So first things first, one more round of applause for the 2015-2016 UMass Boston men's hockey team. Now, we have almost the entire roster here with us today. We're going to start with the players. When you hear your name, please head on up, grab yourself your induction award, and then make your way over to the photo section. So, without further ado, we'll celebrate our players first. If you're not here, sorry, but Josh Haverstrom. John Bono. Brian Carter. Connor Callow. Garrett Gallagher. Drew Gannon. Matt Lemire. Derek Colucci. Jeremy Finger. Brett Mason. Zach Zakis. Alex Demchuk. Colin Larkin. The captain, Albie Daly. Mike Miller. Zach Lindsay. David McGregor. Mike Thompson. Tyler Bishop. Frankie DeAugustine. Axel Hagland. Garrison Sanapass. John Regnert. Connor McStravick. Gabe Chukrin. Andrew Crawford. Zach Andrews. Billy Faust. And last but not least, Jake, I don't know how you ended up last on this list, but it's nothing personal. Jake Collar. Now coaches? Yeah. Don't worry, coaches are going to be up there, but we're snap a players only picture, and then we'll give them some extra shine real quick. Yeah. All right, now nobody go too far, because now the moment where we honor our assistant coaches. First off, Sean Walsh. Tom Murphy. And Quentin Nichols. And last but not least, the reason for the season, the reason you guys are all here, head coach Peter Belisle. And we are summoning what every hockey program needs to keep everyone upright and on two skates. Head trainer Ed Perkins, get into that picture too. Hey, you win as a team, you lose as a team, and these guys won a lot as a team. As they get this one last picture taken, one more round of applause. The 2015-2016 men's hockey team. So, we've got an open mic. Now, I know I don't want to assign it to the team captain to speak for the team or the coach or whoever, but if anyone does want to come and put a stamp on this for the 15-16 Beacons, and we got it right here. It's the team captain, Albie Daly.
All right, well, geez. It's going to be a little bit of a dangerous night here in Boston, I think, with these guys all together. But, I think before I say really anything that I wrote down, there's one important thing to understand our team. It's to listen to Colin Larkin's speech. He came up here and said a couple things about, thank you to his family, which is obviously appropriate, and we all should be, but he talked about our team. He didn't talk about himself. He didn't talk about how gifted of a player he was. He didn't talk about how he made me actually look good. I remember calling my parents being like, geez, they just put me on a line with Colin Larkin and Matt Lemire. I can barely stick handle out here. But, it says a lot about his character and the character of the group we had. And I think that starts with Pete Belisle. It starts with Sean Walsh. It starts with Coach Murphy. And honestly, it starts with UMass Boston. So, I see that back room back there. I was you. I came here with Brett Mason in 2014, and I listened as they talked about all these Hall of Fame inductees. And I remember looking at Brett and said, we're going to win the championship of this league next year, and one day you and I are going to come back here and look at each other. So, now it's a guy I played junior hockey with, when I was 16, 17 years old. Now I'm looking at him, and we're going in the Hall of Fame, as a group. So I'd give a shit less about what I did. Cares a lot more to me, means a lot more to me to being here with all these people, including the other inductees. I was at this school when two of you were here. You motivated me to be a better athlete, better person, so congratulations. I want to recognize my family. just as an inductee, my family's been through a lot in the last year. I didn't ever think I'd be able to even, finish my medical residency, let alone get inducted into a Hall of Fame with my father alive. So I appreciate you being here, Dad. You taught me everything. Well, to Coach Belisle, you told me at the end of my sophomore year, right before I found out I was going to be a captain here, that the process of leadership is often delayed gratification. Oftentimes, players don't realize until years reserved from the program or their careers how much you did for them. I will tell you, I think of things you told me every day of my life. The hardest days of my life, the most challenging and stressful days of my life. I think of things you told me in stressful times in the locker room, in your office, when you were yelling at me about something completely unrelated to me. I think of the lessons I learned from you. So you need to hear that, and hopefully the guys in the back of the room hear that and know that in 10 years, 12 years from now, they'll be looking back and saying, wow, Coach Belisle was right. So I appreciate everything you've done. I think you deserve another round of applause. For me, serving as a leader in this program was the biggest honor I will ever have. Was it easy? It certainly was not. You look at this group of individuals, sometimes they can be a little bit of a challenge. Between the many nights of beer drinking, late nights at Rover, and the legendary Halloween parties, I would often have to be the guy with the water, making sure everybody was all right. But I think to understand this group, you kind of have to go back to the history and where it all started. And that starts in 2013 and 2014. It's the first year I was at this institution. All I heard about before I came in, Connor McStravick, was, yeah, we got so close. We went to NAHC semifinals. We're really close. We're right there. We're going to win it. I know we are. Everybody believes it. We all know it's going to happen. And when I got here, first thing I said was, wow, we have a lot of talent. There were some guys that were amazing hockey players. I thought many guys here deserved to be Division I hockey players, but I just always felt like there was something missing. Something didn't feel right in the locker room. Something didn't feel right with the group. We'd go out and have fun together, but it always felt like we were a bunch of individuals and a lot of talent just all under the same roof. So we had a great season, had the most goals per game in the country and some All-Americans and some accolades, but didn't really feel like we accomplished anything. And we regrouped, came back for another year, 2014, 2015. Now we were really good. We picked up some amazing talent, some in this room, some that left this room. And we said to ourselves, yeah, we got a shot. Got a pretty good group of guys. Worked our tails off for a summer. Got back. Again, best record in school history. Everybody thought we were going to do it. Got to the NAHC semifinals. Lost to Babson. And we were all kind of sitting there scratching our heads. What's gone wrong? It just felt like something was missing. I remember I was at the Banshee with Derek Colucci and Tyler Bishop. They had about 10 beers, so that means I had about 2. And we all looked at each other, and none of us were surprised in the result of the season. Something was still missing, and no one could figure out what it was. So the day I got a call in between those 2 seasons about being captain, I said, well, we have 12 seniors. I don't know why you're calling me. It's nothing to do with me. There's 12 captains on this team already. So the 12 of us sat down, 13 of us, I guess, and I looked at Craw and Colucci and Miller and that whole group, Frank, and said, hey, we're all captains. So let's sit down and figure out how we're going to win this championship. And for the rest of that year, every single guy in this room was incredibly selfless. Every single guy had a role, and they didn't care what that role was. And sometimes that role changed, and everyone was extremely willing to do that role. And it created an extremely special year that for the rest of my life will be unmatched. So for the student athletes in the room, you can do pretty special things. You just have to believe in your group, and you have to believe that the team is more important than the individual. And I truly think that's how we create legacy, which I think that this team now has done. So thank you for letting me say a few words on behalf of the team. And I hope that when you remember this group, you don't remember any individual, although you will because of their individual talents. but you remember the camaraderie that we created and hopefully the influence we had on the next generation of athletes here. Thanks.
I know it's a hockey tradition that the captain does all the speaking on behalf of the team. Albie, that was phenomenal. That was awesome. That was such a great insight into the 15-16 team. And that's a great way to kind of bring this thing in for a landing. To conclude our evening, I want to pass the mic back to our Vice Chancellor and Director of Athletics, Dr. Jackie Schumann.
Thank you, Chris. Let's all give a round of applause for Chris for his efforts today as Master of Ceremonies. And before we wrap up, I'd like to thank our team for event planning, our point person who just recently became the point person, Katie Hallahan, who stepped up to do this. Becky Schonecker and our photographers for the night and our AV staff. And I don't know if they're still around, but a special thank you to our catering staff and those that have made the food for us tonight. So as we wrap up this event, I'd like to reflect on the important words we heard from our honorees tonight. I will tell you, I spend tons of time trying to think of what to say for speeches over and over and over again throughout the year, and you all make it really easy for me to be able to embody the things that really matter to us here at UMass Boston and in athletics and recreation. So I wanted to share some of the things that I heard that I really think, embodies the values of our department and our institution. I will start with Shannon, who I was with last week, and Shannon echoed the sentiments that every one of you has shared today, which is that she loves this place. She loved being here. She loved the community of people here, the support. She loved winning. And she loved doing it over and over again. And because of the type of place and the type of people that were here, it has always been such a special place to her and a special place in her heart and for her teammates. Ryan shared how much he was influenced by his family and his coaches. And so in hearing from Ryan, we heard a lot about all he was able to accomplish because his mom pushed him to go to school, and as he said, his coach stuck with him through it. And here he is today being honored for not just a Hall of Fame here at UMass Boston, but a Conference Hall of Fame induction. Bob, we heard so many significant things from you, and some of the things that stood out to me, one was your quote about what could possibly happen given the right opportunity. And I think we heard so much of that tonight from people who said, they almost didn't come here, right? They almost didn't take the chance. They almost didn't take the step. They almost didn't come to school. And I think Bob really embodied what it means to take that step, to take that opportunity, to push the envelope, to say, I'm going to achieve this goal. And he noted that it changed his life forever. Hillary talked about, I could have tears in my eyes with her talking about the little girl from Lynn who would be proud to see where she is today, standing up here, receiving this award in front of her mom who had the courage and gave the sacrifice to make it possible. And she shared how that possibility comes to life when someone believes in you and you believe in yourself, which I think we heard over and over and over again from everybody. Elizabeth echoed the sentiments of this special place that almost never was for her, it becoming her second home, her parents pushing her out the door, lots of parents pushing people out the door here, and then her coaches really influencing the leader and the athlete that she could be, that she thought she could be, and it really changed her life path as well. I agree with what Albie said from Colin, the thing that I heard was he was winning this award, and everything he talked about was the team, the team, the team, the team, the coaches, the influence. It was not about him. It was about the lifelong friendships, the bonds, and he shared how much that prepared him for the success that he has today in his career and life, which I shared at the beginning. That's what I hope we're doing every single day with our student athletes. And then from the men's ice hockey team, we heard more of that. And the quote that was shared from Coach Belial about leadership often being delayed gratification. I mean, look around the room. Some of you went to school with some of the people that are being inducted. You learned from those people, and you're all sitting here as a result of that delayed gratification, earning these awards really because of the legacy that you left behind from being selfless. And we heard all the ways that investing in yourselves, in your teammates, and doing that really helps you create a legacy, and you all have left a legacy that we all can be so proud of. So I would now like to ask all of our Hall of Fame inductees to please stand and be recognized by everybody. I heard from you family, love, pride, push, and support from UMass Boston, Boston State College, and this being a special place and a home away from home. There's almost nothing better I could hear as the Director of Athletics and Recreation here than those things, and you are always a part of our family. So thank you for making us proud, and thank you for being here tonight. You are well-deserved of the honor that you've received this evening. As we close the evening, I'd like to ask all of our Hall of Fame induction honorees to come to the stage, sorry, not the stage, to come to the backdrop, to the stage? To come to the stage, sorry, they have to teach me what I need to know. To come to the stage so we can do photos as we conclude this evening's events, and then family members, friends, I know some of you may want to stay around to do some photos with the backdrop, so after we do this photo, feel free to do so. Thank you so much for your time tonight and everything you've done to support us.